Here, if you want to go to the movies and drown it in butter, you got to make sure that you're going to the gym as well.
Yeah, it's called balance. But now it is time for our healthy living segment with personal trainer and co-owner Stephanie Perry from the Move Center in Fort Myers.
Now this morning, she's getting us more on the importance of having strong hips and some exercises you can do to strengthen them. Stephanie, good morning. Thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me again.
So we see a bit of a setup there behind you, and I know you've been playing with one of those bands as well. So quick question for you. What are some of these hip exercises? I learned about this around 5 o'clock this morning, and I really want to learn a little bit more about what you can do at home.
Yeah, so let's just start with the anatomy of the hip. So the hip is a ball and socket joint that's formed where the femur meets the three bones of the pelvis. Now our hips control any kind of movement that involves balance and stability. So something as basic as walking, running, jumping. Our hips are really responsible for all those movements. So it's really important for us to keep them nice and strong. Today I'm going to show you 3 exercises that you can incorporate in just your warm-up that's going to really help improve this and strengthen your hips. All of these exercises can be done with an exercise band. I'm not going to waste any time today trying to get the band up over my legs, but all of these exercises can be done with a little extra resistance. The first exercise I'm going to show you today is a clamshell. So this is done by laying on the ground or on a table. You're going to lay on your side, bend your knees. You're going to roll your hips a little bit forward, keep your feet together, and we're just going to lift that knee up. So all of these exercises are going to be done nice and slow with a little bit of a pause at the top so you can really get the effect in your hips. So for these exercises, I would say doing about 20 reps on each side, 2 to 3 times. The second exercise I'm going to show you today is a donkey kick, and I'm sure most of you have heard of these. You're going to be on your hands and knees. What you're going to do is make sure your core is nice and tight and that your back is flat, and you're just going to extend that leg behind you, squeezing your glute as you go back. So another really important thing to remember with your hips is your glutes play a huge part in the strength of your hips. So strengthening your glutes is really essential. The third exercise I'm going to show you real quick is a fire hydrant, and it's exactly what it sounds like. So same thing, nice tight core, flat back, and you're just going to bring that leg up.
And I've heard things also, when you strengthen your hips, it also helps lower back pain. Is that correct too?
It does. And now one of the more common exercises as like a glute bridge, which I'm sure everyone knows what that is when you're laying on your back with your knees bent, bringing your butt up and down. That's one of the best exercises for your glutes and lower back. So all of these exercises actually hit all of those areas. They hit your lower back, your core, your glutes, and your hips.
Because I have really bad back problems. So like I always try to do hip exercises as well. So those were really good to know.
And Stephanie, it
Yeah,
kind of
it's
seems
really
like
great. So keeping your core nice and strong is really going to help your lower back.
And it seems like you can do these obviously at home, but do you recommend doing these every day, or is this something that you should do 5 days a week? I mean, simple exercises like this, you can do it right in your living room. Is that a 7-day, week type of exercise?
Sure, yeah, you can do these 7 days a week. You can do them multiple times a day. So the more we do them, that's only going to make our hips stronger. So rock on with that. Another thing that's great with this is it also doesn't just help your hips, but it's also going to help shape your butt as well. So I know we're all looking for, a nice backside as well. So these kind of play a dual purpose.
Now, the one thing, Stephanie, it's always sticking with me. We spoke with you a couple weeks ago about this is not the time that you need to focus on the six-pack abs or, same thing for the women as well if you're focusing on, the flat, beach body. But, these are some exercises that can kind of hold you over and tide you over if you don't feel comfortable going back into the gym just yet, of course, because of the pandemic and the restrictions. So all of these exercises you can do at home, right, Stephanie? Plus, and a couple times throughout the day you mentioned.
Yeah, for sure. And I know we have access to these bands as well. I know all stores have them, Walmart, Target. That's one thing that they did not sell out of. So if you grab some bands, that's a great way to add some extra resistance. If you don't have any weights or anything at home, this is a great way to strengthen your legs and your hips with just some bands or body weight.
I was just gonna say, I know you've mentioned before you can use milk jugs and stuff. If you don't have a band, like I know with the clamshell, you can just kind of put, let's say, the jug just on top of your leg, and that can still be the resistance also if you don't want to go out to the store or anything like that.
Sure.
Yeah. Lots of options.
Yeah, definitely. You can also use your hand too. If you just put your hand on your knee or your hips and just apply some pressure, that will also put some resistance on that as well.
Yeah, we're good to go.
Now, if you'd like to get in touch with Stephanie, we do want to thank you for the time from the
You're
Move
all set
Center.
now.
Shoot her an email, the email address listed right here on your screen. You can get some healthy tips, personal training, and many more tips like we just saw, some exercises at home. But please note it is by appointment only.